Hi there. I just wanted to spread some trans joy. Last weekend, I thrifted this dress for $13. My partner booked a surprise nail salon visit for me for my birthday. So I had my nails done. I've never had them done like this before. Um, and then he proposed to me. So I'm engaged now.
Good news, everyone! Tonight, Europe stands for science, updates from Oxford, and the beauty of trans expression. Good news starts right now. Things seem pretty bleak. It's getting harder and harder to find stories to cover on this program. I want you to know that isn't because positive change isn't happening. It's because the stories of our wins are getting flooded out by the drama of an authoritarian regime using us as a distraction while they steal all the power they can. But I'm here to tell you, good things are still happening, even if they're hard to see. One of my jobs happens to be as a delivery driver, and one stop I frequently go to for that job is a cesspit of hate. I routinely get threatened and often deal with harassment whenever I go there. And while my boss has offered to take me off that route, I told her not to, because I will be damned if I let a bunch of bigots steer my life. I will not run from cowards. I will not validate them to carry on and do the same to others. To be clear, none of you have to put yourself in a position where you're confronted with violence and aggressive hate every day. Be safe. Take care of yourself. But if you can be actively visible, safely, it does work, albeit very slowly. Last week, I got to see that. One of the regular dock workers, a guy who laughed with the others when they made comments about my boobs, a guy who stood by while his company's African-American HR rep told me I'd be beaten if I stepped 1 foot out of the docking area without a managerial escort, a guy who never said 2 words to me except, "You're late," on one occasion when a blizzard slowed me down on the highway. That man apologized to me for the way I'd been treated. He didn't go into detail or get cinematically emotional. He just said, "I'm sorry for the way the guys acted. It isn't right." Then he went about doing his job and made regular small talk about the weather like a normal effing human being. Suddenly, this one man, against the tide of his environment, saw me for a person. And once he did, he started behaving as if I wasn't a freak or outlaw or disease carrier, but a person. Someone who deserves an apology when wronged and should otherwise be treated just like anybody else. If you can be visible, eventually humanity wins. They can't pretend we aren't people when they see our humanity with their own eyes every day. It's a small win, I know. But if I've moved one of these guys all the way to acceptance just by existing, how much closer to changing are all the others? Now that this person is willing to treat me like a human in full view of his coworkers, how much more will that change their convictions? These are baby steps, I know, but they're cumulative. Keep being relentlessly you. Don't let anyone dim your fire. And even if it takes 10,000 steps, we will get there. Next, Europe stands firm. A few months ago, we reported on the French and Spanish medical communities affirming the effectiveness and safety of trans healthcare for youth. Last week, Poland's myriad medical associations came out in force to back the accepted international standards as valid, scientifically rigorous, and vital for the well-being of transgender adolescents. Additionally, the declaration, signed by more than 25 medical organizations across every relevant field, specifically condemned the infamous Cass Review for its extensive shortcomings, weak evidentiary standards, evident corruption, and total lack of peer review. Do remember, the sole expert on that project was the eponymous Dr. Hilary Cass, who possesses no specialized education or training whatsoever in gender medicine, who was directed by political leaders to produce a certain conclusion, and upon doing that was rewarded with the rank of Baroness. This week, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria joined Poland and the rest of Europe in standing firm for evidence-based life-saving care, in direct opposition to the politically driven pseudoscience gripping the US and UK recently. The set of guidelines, surpassing 400 pages, proclaims the goal, quote, to provide guidance to all professionals in the healthcare system who deal with young transgender and non-binary people for the best possible professional informed care based on the current state of medical knowledge. These guidelines explicitly call out Cass for similar reasons as the Polish medical community statement, criticizing the lack of transparency, lack of expert input, evident bias, and methodological shortcomings, including glossing over the effectiveness of puberty blockers that the Cass itself demonstrated. They also condemned Cass's recommendation of psychotherapy as a primary treatment, citing a total lack of evidence in favor of the practice and a considerable body illustrating significant negative outcomes. To be clear, the international paper makes clear that no study included in Cass was able to show any reduction in gender dysphoria through psychotherapy, nor are any of the medical associations involved in the production of this work, which includes groups representing thousands of psychologists and psychiatrists, aware of any such study. Instead, this review, like all the others published since SOC 8 came out in 2022 that didn't involve bribery with titles of English nobility, affirms the current WPATH standards of care represent the best practices based on all evidence presently available. But that's not all! Poland did more than get the jump on the other Central European nations with science. They also took steps on the legal front. Last week, the Polish Supreme Court issued a ruling making it possible for a citizen to update the gender on their birth certificate through a bench order, similar to how many U.S. states issue court orders for name and gender changes. The previous rule, from 1989, required a formal suit to be filed and argued in a court session. That is to say, not only is Europe continuing to advance healthcare for trans youth, but even the more conservative countries are continuing to expand access to equal rights for trans people. Despite rumors to the contrary you may have heard from a certain convicted fraud. A few weeks ago, TransPositions reported on the fact the Oxford Literary Festival had opted to present anti-trans conspiracy theorists in the LGBT slot of their annual event. While those speakers remain on the official schedule as of recording, the festival has made some changes for the better. On Sunday, April 6th, Oxford's Sheldonian Theatre will host a talk entitled In Defense of Trans Realities. Here are the author descriptions from the event page. Professor Sophie Grace Chappell, an author of numerous books, including Transfigured, on being a transgender person in a cisgender world. She is a professor of philosophy at the Open University, a translator of Homer, Dante, and Plato, a published poet, and a mountaineer with over 50 first winter ascents in Scotland to her name. She is also a trans woman, And in Transfigured, she tells how she was only 4 3/4 years old when she asked her mother if she could go to school as a girl rather than a boy. Chappelle combines memoir, philosophical reflection, fictional writing styles, and poetry to explain what it is really like to be transgender. And she asks what society can do better to accept the reality of trans lives and to welcome and include trans adults, children, and families. Konstantin Sandis, co-author of Real Gender, A Cis Defense of Trans Realities, argues for a broader understanding of gender concepts, featuring trans voices in its pages. As a cis person, he recognizes the undeniable social aspects of gender while also remaining cognizant that gender cannot be completely divorced from biology. The book argues that gender self-identification does not require denial of biology or sex, and that what is needed is a greater understanding of gender concepts. Sandis has authored numerous books and has taught philosophy at several universities. He is presently visiting professor of philosophy at the University of Hertfordshire. And the talk will be chaired by Professor Sir Dermot McCulloch, a historian, broadcaster, and author specializing in the history of Christianity. Although he was ordained a deacon in the Church of England, he declined ordination to the priesthood because of the Church's attitude toward homosexuality and his determination to be truthful about being gay. His most recent book is Lower Than the Angels, A History of Sex and Christianity. The event will run 90 minutes. And while it doesn't negate the inclusion of uncredentialed hate-mongers billed as LGBT speakers in the festival lineup, having at least one trans person speak on trans issues is a solid improvement. Trans is beautiful, as exemplified once again by a trans runway model, this time Kai Schreiber, the trans daughter of celebrities Naomi Watts and Liev Schreiber, who just days ago made her debut at Paris Fashion Week. You may already be aware of Kai, who at 8 years old became a viral sensation for gender equality and a target for gender criticals when she attended San Diego Comic-Con in 2017 dressed as Harley Quinn. She's continued to command media attention throughout her childhood, from attending her dad's movie premieres with her brother to typical school events with her mom. Now she's making waves entirely on her own by representing designer Maison Valentino as an IMG agency model. It's truly remarkable what trans kids can do if just given the support they need to thrive. We look forward to seeing what Kai does in years to come as her own star continues to rise. Music can be a balm for the soul. Joy Ewancio, one of the directors at Colorado Center at Colfax and singer-songwriter of great repute, has released a new single, and I think you all might appreciate what she's got to say.
May your light be a beacon to us all as we set sail on this sorrowful sea to a home with the chosen family, to a home with the chosen family. May you find safe harbor with your friends who renew us at our journey's end, and rest on a warm beach of kindness. Rest on that warm beach listen and heed the call. Shorten the darkness till the fascists fall. Shorten the darkness till the fascists fall. May we continue to lift each other up. It's our gift to give each other hope. Always room for one more in our lifeboat. Always room for one more in our lifeboat.
If you enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe. Transpositions Weekly is the first and only weekly trans news show in the universe, and we need your help to keep this show going. Contribute at patreon.com/thetranspositions. Spread the word on social media to let people know we're here, and tell us what stories matter to you by joining the community on Discord. Discord, of course, is where the memes live, and our meme of the week was posted by Jester. And if you are one of the accursed few afflicted by the sinful desire to understand what the hell you're talking about, join us. Also, if you have good news concerning trans people you'd like to see reported on, you can tell us about that in the Discord as well. For the Transpositions, I've been Ember Bellrad.
Get ready with me while I tell you why I regret transitioning as a minor. All done.